I'm Christina Onnested. The next stage of evacuations in Ukraine at the Azovstal steel plant in the port city of Mariupol are underway. The United Nations says some 500 people have been evacuated from the shell of a steel plant there. It comes after Russia struck the plant from the air and ground. United Nations Secretary General Antonio Guterres.
I hope that the continued coordination with Moscow and Kyiv will lead to more humanitarian pauses to allow civilians safe passage from the fighting and aid to reach those in critical needs. We must continue to do all we can to get people out of these hellscapes. The war on Ukraine is senseless in scope, restless in its dimensions, and limitless in its potential for global harm. The cycle of death, destruction, dislocation, and disruption must stop. It is high time to unite and end this war.
Meanwhile, Amnesty International says Russia is guilty of war crimes. The U.S. says it provided intelligence that helped Ukraine target Russian warships that sunk the ship last month, but the U.S. is denying helping target Russian generals.
Rise up for abortion rights!
Youth protesters rallied across the country Thursday in opposition of rollbacks to abortion rights. In New York, youth rallied in the streets blocking traffic in response to the leaked draft Supreme Court opinion overturning the landmark Roe v. Wade decision that legalized abortion. 15-year-old Anna Hutch spoke to the recount.
I came here because I'm a 15-year-old girl in New York City and my rights are being threatened. And I came here because I'm hoping to not allow these government officials who think they have control over my body to do what they're doing and take us back 50 years of fighting.
My body, my choice!
Youth protesters also rallied in Louisville, Kentucky, and in Chicago.
Not the church, not the state. People will decide their fate.
And in Los Angeles, here's an LA student who spoke on social media.
Email your teachers. Tell them I have somewhere to be that is not your class, somewhere that is for myself and for my rights.
Police in Washington, D.C. are preparing for mass protests this weekend by supporters and opponents of abortion. Youth activists are calling for a week of action starting May 8th, culminating with a nationwide march on May 14th. The actions come as New York Senator Majority Leader Democrat Chuck Schumer announced the Senate will vote on legislation to guarantee abortion rights next week. Chief Justice John Roberts spoke publicly for the first time since a leaked draft of his opinion. He called the leak appalling and said the person behind the leak was foolish if they thought it would change anything. Roberts spoke at the 11th Circuit Judicial Conference Thursday. The Food and Drug Administration is putting limits on Johnson & Johnson's vaccine. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders is asking why the government gives federal contracts to companies that break labor laws. He chaired a budget committee hearing on the issue Thursday. Christopher Martinez reports.
Labor activists and their allies in Congress are pushing for stronger labor protections and punishment for employers that violate labor laws. Independent Senator Bernie Sanders of Vermont.
Should federal taxpayer dollars go to companies that violate labor law and illegally prevent workers from exercising their constitutional rights to join a union?
For Sanders, the answer is no. He says Amazon, the second largest private employer in the country, is doing everything it can, legal or not, to block unionizing, citing complaints and cases at the National Labor Relations Board. Lindsey Graham is a Republican from South Carolina. He says the committee is taking a dangerous turn under the leadership of Sanders.
You're singling out a single company because of your political agenda to socialize this country.
Witnesses at the hearing included Christian Small, president of the Amazon Labor Union.
To me, it just sounds like the corporations have the control. They break the law to get away with it. They know that already, that breaking the law during these election campaigns won't be resolved during the election campaigns. So they purposely continue to break the law.
Witness Sam O'Brien is general president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters.
We have the power to completely stop companies that break labor law from receiving federal contracts, so why are we not doing it?
Reporting for Pacifica Radio News KPFA, I'm Christopher Martinez.
The White House will have a new press secretary. Karine Jean-Pierre will be the first Black and openly LGBTQ person to hold the post after Jen Psaki departs May 13th. I'm Christina Onnested, reporting for Pacifica Radio.